Wow, just wow. From the introduction of new characters to our time at the Wall of Peaceful Coexistence now over, we set up this invasion arc of a place called the Nest, a stronghold for Jihad's forces, where a lot of high-ranking officials and strong opponents await our heroes. All of this helped to create an epic environment / atmosphere. It felt monumental. One of the panels, or I should say chapters, that nearly finished off the Nest arc felt like something you could end the series on. It felt dramatic, it felt hyped, it got you excited for things to come. We knew something big was going to happen in the upcoming arcs, as we raced to save Jin Sung-ha. However, before that though, we need to talk about these two arcs in particular. So, hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and today let's talk all things Tower of God, the Webtoon series. More specifically, we're here to talk about the Dowon and the Nest arcs within that series. So then, without any further delay, let's just jump straight into the talking points, starting off with the character of Dowon. So then we got to see more of her personality on display, and also how she thinks, like her thought process, as well as what led up to her joining Jihad's forces in the end, despite being anti-Jihad way back when the flashbacks occurred. So in terms of her personality, I thought she had a very strong showcasing here, as she displayed a plethora of emotions, from kindness, affection, and even wanting peace for everybody. She is very selfless in that regard. Now, she's also been shown to be very upset. There were a few negative emotions thrown in as well. The fact that she saw the tower still at war and people were still fighting, this upset her, because she has sacrificed so much up to this point, just for little progress to have been made. As well as the fact is, we get to see a bit more of a sinister side to her character. She becomes a little bit more brutal and unhinged, as we find out she gains her sister's memories when her sister unlocked the seal. So yes, she can give compassion and kindness, but if you take that kindness for granted and disrespect her actions or harm anyone she views close, then you're going to pay big time. As we saw with the old descendant of the king, who leads the people within the wall, she got her backside handed to her, and rightly so, because she is scummy. Now, her having a more of an aggressive side to her character, I think not only adds more kind of characterization to her character, but also, I think it was always something that was a part of her deep down. Remember, she was a warrior fighting on the front lines as a wave controller. But these turn of events, after seeing what little difference her sacrifices have made, that aggression has just been intensified. And honestly, who could blame her for the actions that she takes here? I think the more questionable action was joining Jihad and listening to what that Jihad-looking guy said, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Now we also get to see a more vulnerable side to her character, as well as the fact is, when she's preparing herself for being sealed away, she's walking through the town. The people are there, they're calm at the fact Jihad's forces are retreating, but they have a pained look on their face. Their selfish actions in all agreeing to seal Dowon away is causing them a lot of grief and guilt. Dowon shows a great sign of kindness and sympathy for them. By erasing their memories, exempting them from their guilt disappears. This is such a kind act that you would not expect anyone to do, but she does it anyway. But that panel with the kids saying, "My mummy and daddy said that we must make sure you don't run away, otherwise we'll all die," that was such a heartbreaking panel to read. As it's not the kids' fault for saying what she did, but it's the fact that townspeople, even after everything that Dowon has done, the sacrifices she said she's going to make, they still think she's going to back out and run away, so they resort to mental manipulation in order to keep her tied down and disciplined. This, I thought, was despicable. And I said it was a juggling act to decide whether or not the people of the towns are good, because on the one hand, they feel guilty about their actions, but on the other hand, they're only doing it to survive. This just makes it so they're just vile. I'm glad they got wiped out. Finally, we get to see Cha, a really cool looking character that just looks like a proper man. Like, just because. I loved the build up to his release. I thought seeing him get released by the trapped residents who are fighting with all that they had to break this seal that is sealing him away. This, I thought, was a very powerful and impactful moment. You really saw the emotion and passion that these kids had that were fighting to free him. As far as personality goes though, I think there is still a long way to go. But it's going to be interesting to see what type of personality this guy has moving forward. Will it be comedic? Will it be serious? Or will it be a mixture of both? We'll have to wait and see. However, I'd love to learn more about the character in general because I do find him quite fascinating at the moment in time. And to be honest, him being loyal to Bam at this moment in time and just wanting to blindly follow him, I'm kind of okay with because it gives Bam a little bit more breathing room in terms of not having to face every enemy on his own once Cha and Bam finally meet up face to face. I did admit that panel where Bam is training with the Vankel and Cha just kind of appears out of nowhere and says, "I want to serve you, Bam." Bam's reaction there was pretty funny, not gonna lie. But at the same time, the reason as to why Cha wants to follow Bam is because of his interaction with a jihad looking person. This I thought was a bit sketchy, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Nevertheless though, it's surprising to know that Cha has information about Arlene. That was pretty shocking. It took me a couple of times to read that panel, but honestly, I'm glad I found that information out. I wonder what he told Bam in that conversation. Oh, and you can't change my mind otherwise, but he was definitely charging up a Kamehameha in that panel. It's right here, you can see it, and that was super cringy of me to do, but I did it anyway. We're keeping it in. Okay, so it's time for a crazy prediction / crack theory for a future arc to come. Now I don't know how long or how many arcs it is, but I do believe that both Dowon and Cha will die. At first I thought maybe only Dowon would die, but Cha wouldn't really be much use in the story if she dies and he survives. It would be too traumatic for him to continue going on. So I think the best way to go is to take out both of these ancient heroes at once. The reason why I say this is because the theme surrounding both characters is of course peace. They wanted to have peace from the very beginning. That's why they were fighting. I think they also wanted to leave the tower, but I could also be mistaken on that and getting confused for another character. However, we got a line from Dowon in where she states that only way true peace can be achieved is by them disappearing. Them of course referring to warriors / fighters. This echoes something that Cullivan told Dowon's sister in a previous arc, in where he said to her that once his sister awakens, she's going to be thrown back into a war, because a warrior can never find peace unless they die on the battlefield. He says something similar to along those lines, and I love the fact that that was echoed here tremendously. I can see a situation in where once Jin Sung is rescued, Dowon and Cha will stand against Jihad's remaining forces. But then, someone arrives. That someone is Adori Jihad. She makes her grand appearance. After all, these two arcs that I'm covering today have been hyping her character up a lot throughout them. So I do think she's going to make an appearance. And if she makes an appearance, she's going to take down the two legendary heroes. Thus, hyping her character up more, building her more as of a threat and a powerhouse. Of course, she already is, but I think this would make her even better. Okay, so then let's go over a few bits of lore given to us about Adori Jihad. She was the first regular to be a ranker in a test. Although being an A-ranked regular, this is still a feat that she herself owns. And it shows to her incredible strength at that young age. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, Bam and his team are so strong, it's hard to really take rankers seriously anymore within this series. So, I guess at that time, that was quite big and monumental for Adori to do, even though she was a rank A. But Bam doing it, they're making it a big deal, and I guess it kind of is, because it's semi-unheard of. But at the same time, to me as the reader, it just doesn't feel that monumental. But hey, it gets the job done, so let's move on. Once Adori Jihad arose to the title of ranker, she very quickly got promoted to high ranker, and then supreme commander. In such a short space of time, this is again another thing that was unheard of within the tower at that moment in time. This goes to show just how credible and how backed up her skills really were. So again, they're building this character up to be a massive threat in the future. Yes, it was stated that she doesn't like to appear much on the front lines, but if things go south for Jihad's forces, I'm sure she'll take action and show what she can truly do out there. And when she arrives on the battlefield, everyone better run. That's the impression I'm getting from all this information that we've been receiving. We'd love to see what a full character design would be as well. That's going to be interesting when that gets revealed. So then, what in the hell is Jihad playing at with those flashback stories? Giving Cha and Dowon a similar yet different story about a boy who will appear before them in the future. Personally, I think this is Jihad, and he's just using a strategy to kind of keep things interesting and fresh for himself. After all, the young Jihad wanted adventure, or at least the thrill that it provides, as having a strong opponent to fight would offer a thrill of a lifetime. Yet another way you can give a thrill to yourself and make lots of adrenaline excite you within your core is seeing how easily you could potentially turn one of your greatest enemies into an ally, making them turn against the people that they love, making them destroy the very thing they once desired. So Jihad is trying to destroy Dowon by getting her to join Jihad's forces and make her battle people that she wanted to save. Killing as well the one person that is truly capable of creating the peace that Dowon once longed for. Of course, telling Dowon about Bam and saying you need to kill him because he's going to create a catastrophe in the future, that is just the way Jihad is manipulating the characters in this particular situation. That's how I interpret it. If you have any different thoughts, then of course let me know in the comments down below. Now then, the thing that makes me question whether or not this is really Jihad is his appearance. He looks very young within these flashbacks, yet he knows about Bam and Arlene, because he tells Cha about a boy who was born from a great man and a great woman. This isn't something that Jihad would say because he never liked V, nor did he sort of see Arlene in such a great light after the events had transpired, after Bam was born and murdered by Jihad. So, could this be a hint at Jihad reading the future and then making up some nonsense? We'll have to wait and see, but again, it did leave it very ambiguous because it didn't give us any names or anything concrete. It just gave us a lot of evil smiles and kind of weird facial expressions and text that needs to be read a lot deeper. For a second, I did think this could be Wangnam, the Prince of the Red Light District, but that's just a really, really out there guess. And I, again, don't think the timeline matches up because he looks older than Wangnam, yet too young to know about the travesty that befalled, Arlene and V getting together, creating Thug, all that good stuff. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. What do you think of these flashbacks? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, so finally, within Season 3, Harian makes a long-awaited return to the story. Her Season 3 design looks amazing, and her involvement within these arcs were very enjoyable to read, especially those interactions with Bam and Kun. It's clear that she has been keeping an eye on Bam's actions while being apart, as she noticed things about Bam that have changed. Seeing that she is acting more friendly towards Bam as well is quite intriguing. But also, calling Bam her god, which again, I could be wrong and misremembering, but was this the first time that she's genuinely said that statement? Calling Bam her god with so much confidence in her voice. I think so, but I could be wrong. Nevertheless though, she had a great smile on her face when saying that line, and a lot of confidence. So I really did like that. Positivity. Her comedy brought a nice change of atmosphere / mood after a rather sad and dramatic ending to the Wall of Peaceful Coexistence. So for that aspect, I did really appreciate it, because we needed something fun and lighthearted to break up the serious dark tension that was looming over our heads from the aftermath of the Wall of Coexistence. So it's good that she brought a bit of comedy to the series. Whereas the other redhead guide, So-Oh, gave our main protagonist a bit of a wake-up call, telling him that it's his fault that the canines have been trapped, captured, and suffered. So much, and it's thanks to Bam's actions. And she's like, what right do you have to continuously ask these people and lead them into a dangerous situation? Ending off her interactions with Bam, saying that she should have killed him. A statement that, of course, we as the readers know full well that Bam will take this very seriously and to heart. And we see that. It does negatively affect his emotional status by the end. And he is kind of downhearted and getting sad. But at the same time, this is a stepping stone for him to develop and show that development. But with that being said, another great line I thought was delivered by So-Oh was when she said, I've always felt that while living in this tower, the only world worse than the one where war never stops is one where everyone is oppressed by the powerful, to the point where they never have the nerve to fight back. That line was epic. This line for me was one of the most powerful and best lines within these arcs, and maybe from season 3 so far. This character has been under the radar a little bit. I love her design, I like her sort of Shinzu skill, and her dialogue here was pretty thought-provoking. So for that, she's pretty good. Okay then, so let's talk about our main protagonist, Bam. Again, we got another great display from his character this arc. We saw our hero take down a ranker in hopes of swaying the Elders of Thug to back him within this war against Shahad's forces. We also got another badass line from Bam when Raccoon and himself beat that guard they were fighting from the arcs before. So then Bam did go through some mental development within these chapters, understanding how his actions and involvement of others have affected the lives of many. He now realizes that not everyone will help him against Jihad's forces. Knowing this, he's okay to do this rescue mission on his own. Well, I mean, Hariyun included, of course, but he gives people the choice. He doesn't try to manipulate or force people to come into the war with him. He decides, right, I'm going to put it up to you, it's your decision, you can come if you want to, but I'm not expecting you to arrive. Bam is able to see differences within his power and Cullivan's power, to the point where he's holding himself back from blindly rushing in and attacking Cullivan. This shows good technical awareness and good kind of smarts from him. So again, another great piece of development that we've seen from our main protagonist. He's slowly but surely learning and gauging what he can do and what he realistically can't do. I was a bit confused when the recorder of the ranker test was like, this regular one, only showing his secret weapon once towards the end of the fight. That, of course, being the secret weapon of the Zero-style Air Wave. But that leaves a question. The Black March, the Thorn Fragments, the Black Hole Shinzu Spear, are all of these crazy overpowered moves and weapons not a secret move anymore? Like, is this public knowledge? Hopefully not, because this will make infiltrating that nest that much harder. Nevertheless though, I did like the way Bam presented himself here, and I thought his new outfit for going into the nesting was actually really cool. I like that design. I think it's one of the better outfits Bam's had. Plus, I do like that black shirt and black trousers, looking pretty sharp in that uniform. Okay, so finally, Yama got battered, and his race got captured. However, throughout these chapters, I did gain a lot of respect for Yama. Being beaten and humiliated to the point that he did, yet he still finds the drive and the determination to move forward and fight back, to bare his fangs at the felines once again. This I can commend greatly. He's actually shown to have much more respect for Bam as well by the end, and actually agrees voluntarily to go after the felines to get his canine people back. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be a big help to Bam, having both Karaka, Ivankel, and Yama still with him. This should be great to see. Oh, and Hokwin / White, of course. I love seeing the emotion as well that Yama displays. All of the drawings with Yama were amazing. And hopefully he gets his rematch with the feline soon, Because, yeah, are dogs better than cats? Leave your answer in the comments down below. Personally, I'm a cat person myself, but I can't get behind this squadron commander. He rubs me the wrong way. Don't like this kitty. Bad kitty. So overall, we are setting up for a massive war to come. Dramatic battles and character interactions galore. And the pieces are slowly moving into their correct positions, with the cage arriving at the nest, which I did find conveniently fits down the sort of route they have to go just perfectly, which I thought was a bit, oh, okay, whatever. But hey, if that's the only criticism I've got, then these arcs were brilliant. Will our heroes be able to free Jing Sung Ha without any casualties, or will someone die by the end of this scuffle? We'll have to wait and see on that front. I would like some big dramatic consequence to come, because I feel like we can still get some more development out of our main protagonist if that were to occur. With news of a traitor within the Hidden Grove as well, that adds another plot element moving forward, which is something that I hope we get unraveled with soon, as 2 members are still held captive. How nice is it of Jihad and his obviously men to feed these captivities for so long? Of course, they were captured like pretty much a little bit after Dowon and Cha went into the seals. So like they've been captured for a very long time, and they've been given food all that time because they're still alive. Wow. However, one thing does worry me though about these 2 characters being alive and well. Rak. One of these captivities looks like Rak, but is white and a bit more fluffy looking. So is this a way for Rak to gain some more of the Ancient One's original power? Still not too sure how I feel about this, because I don't want Rak to gain all of the Ancient One's previous. Like, if you remember, the Ancient One was like split into many multiple entities. Rak is kind of teased to be one of them, and if this other character is another one, then that's going to be a little bit convenient for our main protagonists and heroes. But nevertheless though, I'm still going to go in with an open mind and see how they approach that situation. Maybe Rak's going to be able to throw cotton candy now, instead of rocks, but I like rocks. Rocks are cool. But something that did not leave a sour taste within my mouth throughout these arcs was the art style. I mean, these looked amazing. Incredible, beautiful, stunning panels throughout. Each panel was beautifully crafted, and you could see the care and the attention to detail that they added with every single colour and pen stroke. The colours blended in so nicely together. SIU, you did a fantastic job as always. Keep it up. But I do hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. May have been a longer review than normal, but I do hope you've enjoyed nevertheless. Continue to support me as I go up the tower. Obviously, liking, commenting and sharing, all that good stuff would do that. That would greatly appreciated. But more importantly, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll be seeing you soon with a theory video based around something that occurred within these very arcs. So look forward to that next week. Have a great day, alligator, matane, goodbye.